this video, I'm going to demonstrate a couple of ways of approaching a negative shape drawing. What you can see behind me is the subject that I'm going to be using, which is some branches from all the fallen trees on campus. And I'm going to start by showing you just a continuation of the contour drawing that we've been doing. So from this point, I want to show you what I'm looking at. And so this is my eye level looking at this stuff. And so you can see what I'm going to be drawing from. So you can see the shapes that I'm seeing. You can see if I just move this a little bit this way and a little bit this way, or look up and look down, you can see that the shapes change a little bit as you move your head. So it's going to be important to keep your head still or be able to return. So let's get started here. This isn't a super big piece of paper. You could probably work on something larger, but I'm going to see if I can use this as an example. So I'm just going to start here beside one of the branches on the left, and I'm doing the slow, steady movement of the pencil. I'm also giving some consideration as I look down at the paper and then look up at the subject to the extent of these shapes that I'm drawing. And again, this is the space in between branches, not the branches themselves. So now I've completed one shape there, and I'll show that to you. And I'll see if I can bring the camera up here to a place where you can see, hopefully you can see that. We'll see if that shot works. Okay, learning through experience. I realized that you couldn't see what I was drawing with my hand the other direction, but we're just going to build this step by step and kind of see what happens. So I've got shape 1 here, and when I make shape 2, I want to remember that it is, again, the whole in between thing. So if I just draw this up here, thinking about how far the line is going, tiny little leaf thingamajigs here. And then I'm trying to see where I am on this other branch on the other side. Comes down to here, goes down from there and over the top down to there. Now, so I've gone all the way around this hole, this air space, and the bottom edge of that hole is the top edge of this one twig. So hold this down here so you can see. And so now I've sort of drawn, with my 2 negative shapes, I've managed to draw a positive shape in between. And you can also see up here these leaves that are coming down into the negative shape and obscuring part of it, right? So let's go back to the drawing board, and I'll start to fill in some of these other ones, and hopefully this will become a little bit clearer. I realize you can't see what I'm doing with my eyes, so I jump back and forth between looking at the drawing and looking at the subject, but this isn't really as rigid a task as the blind contour drawing is. You can peek freely, let's put it that way, because you've got a lot that you're trying to figure out. You're not just trying to have an experience. You're trying to assess height, width, angle, and so there's a lot of figuring out to be done. Now, I'm moving my way down this stick toward the table, and I'm kind of anticipating that I'm going to reach a point where, in order to make a negative shape, I have to consider the back edge of the table to be an edge of one of my negative shapes. And that's kind of an arbitrary decision, but that's what I'm doing. And so this one curves in nicely there. And it goes all the way up to here. Now, once I've gotten there, I stop just short of that next one because I realize that's the top edge of this branch, and this is going to be the bottom edge of that branch. So that bottom edge of the branch goes like that. There's a little bit of a mismatch there, but that's life. There are some interesting little branches here. But again, what I want to get across to you is that I'm giving this feeling of these actual positive shapes in this whole, but they're all each their own self-contained shape, and they don't touch. And this branch is actually a space between two negative shapes. So I want to do a little bit more of this. First, I'm going to draw a line over this direction. And I want to go up this side now. Keeping an eye on where I am. And I see that this little knob is the place where that bifurcates, and there's a leaf down there. That comes up there and hits another branch going that way. So I think what I want to do, where have I got that there? There's another little thing coming out that way. I think I want to just make this the outer edge of my drawing. And so I use the bottom of the table edge, but it could be an arbitrary place where you make that the bottom edge of your drawing. And so there's a corner here, and I'm going to end up with a rectangle. So I'm going to go back over to this side now. Let me just show you the subject again so that you can see that and figure out where I am, hopefully. You can pause and rewind, etc. on the video. Technology. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to this side, and I'm going to, just for the sake of getting this done, I'm not going to include a whole lot of it. And by not including a whole lot of it, I mean I'm going to truncate the box, the outer edge of the drawing. And so to do that, I'm just going to go out here and say, that's my edge. And I'm thinking about where this branch meets and where another branch comes out here, and I'm going to meet that branch about there. And so going up here, I'm ignoring some of the leaves behind. That's where I messed up. Oh no, that's the bottom one. Okay, I got it right. I'm gonna go up here, and this branch comes out like that. So there's another shape. So really, I actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negative shapes. And so then this one, there's a nice little thing coming out like that. And then a shape on top of that. Oops, it's not the best. That goes up here, go there. This one bends up to join that. There's another one there. I have to check against these shapes to see where this one's going to be. I'm just, no, that is in the drawing. All right, there's a curvy thing coming down there. That's all I'm going to do with that. Some leaves behind here. This goes out the top. There's some space here. I really messed up somehow here. This is the branch that curves around. It goes out. And we're just going to say this goes across here. And somewhere in there, there's some leaves. Go across there. This is dense and complicated up here, and I'm just not going to bother with it right now. Here's a nice thing that happens, that little shape there. And then this goes up here, another little twig down like that. This branch goes across like that. I'm leaving out a few leaves here, but oak leaves. Goes across there. I'm just going to fake this. So there's probably actually some more leaves up in here, but I just figured I would just drop it at this. But I think this can give you a good idea of what the end results of this can be. Because it's a contour drawing where you're using line to create these shapes, it really takes a lot of thinking and kind of comprehending the thing that you're looking at and the shape relationships. So it's really an exercise that, kind of really raises a sweat, because there's not really much room for going back. If you used a very light pencil, you can go back in and erase. I would say maybe do this a couple times and just stop whenever you just get frustrated with it, right? And hopefully you can get through to a point where you've got something like this, where you feel like you've captured that sense of those positives that are created by drawing the negative shapes. The positives are the branches, right? The negative shapes, the air holes in between them. So now I want to switch to working with vine charcoal, and I'll show you how to use that technique, which I think will be much more accessible and less frustrating than this.